Hey YouTube, Tech Freckle here. Today we're going to be doing the fundamentals of HTML section of the course. In this unit you'll be introduced to the fundamentals of HTML. The goal of this unit is to introduce you to the fundamentals of HTML, one of the language essentials to developing websites. After this unit you'll be able to understand how HTML is used for web development, use HTML to build a structure for a website, create tables in HTML documents, write clear, more accessible HTML using semantic HTML tags, learning social. Okay, that's the same blurb, that's always there. Let's go. Introduction HTML. Welcome to the world of code. Last year, millions of learners from our community started with HTML. Why? HTML is the skeleton of all web pages. It's often the first language learned by developers, marketers, and designers, and is core to front-end development work. If this is your first time touching code, we're excited for what you're able to create, or what you're about to create. So what exactly is HTML? HTML provides structure to content appearing on a website, such as images, text, or videos. Right-click on any page on the internet, choose Inspect, and you'll see HTML in a panel on your screen. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. A markup language is a computer language that defines the structure and presentation of raw text. In HTML, the computer can interpret raw text that is wrapped in HTML elements. Hypertext is text displayed on a computer or device that provides access to other text through links, also known as hyperlinks. You've probably clicked on a couple of hyperlinks on your way to this Codecademy course. Learning HTML is the first step in creating websites, but even a bit of knowledge can help you inject code snippets into newsletter, blog, or website templates. As you continue learning, you can layer HTML with CSS and JavaScript to create visually compelling and dynamic websites. But for now, we're going to focus on how to add and modify basic content on a web page, like text, images, and videos. Don't worry if the websites look ugly, we're just getting started. In the code editor to the right, type your name in between H1 tags. Okay, run. All right, HTML anatomy. Let's compose developments. These elements structure the web page and define its content. Let's take a look at how they were written. The diagram on the right displays the HTML paragraph element as seen. Oh, we've seen this before, this exact diagram. Well, back the body. One of the key HTML elements we use to build a web page is the body element. Only content inside opening and closing body tags can be displayed on the screen. Here's what opening and closing body tags look like. Paste those in once the file has a body. Many different types of content, including text, images, and buttons, can be added to the body. So add a body to your web page using the body element. We've done that. Let's run it. And then add the following code between your opening and closing body tags. So it's a paragraph because it's P. Let's run this. Okay. While some browsers may render some content outside body tags as well to accommodate the occasional mistake in your HTML, not all browsers do this. The best way to ensure that all your HTML renders the same way in all browsers is to ensure that your elements remain within opening and closing body tags. Okay. HTML structure. HTML is organized as a collection of family tree relationships. As you saw in the last exercise, we placed p tags within body tags. With an element, when an element is contained inside another element, it is considered the child of that element. The child element is said to be nested inside of the parent element. In the example above, the P element is nested inside the body element. The P element is considered a child of the body element, and the body element is considered the parent. You can also see that we've added 2 spaces of identification using the spacebar for better readability. Okay. Since there can be multiple levels of nesting, this analogy can be extended to grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and beyond. The relationship between elements and their ancestor and descendant elements is known as hierarchy. Let's consider a more complicated example that uses some new tags. So we've got a div tag inside the body, and we've got an h1 and a p tag inside of the div element. Okay, in this example, the body element is the parent of the div element, but the h1 and p elements are children of the div element. Because the h1 and p elements are at the same level, they are considered siblings and are both grandchildren of the body element. Understanding HTML hierarchy is important because child elements can inherit behavior and styling from their parent element. You'll learn more about web page hierarchy when you start digging into CSS. Okay, add the paragraph below as a child of the div element. Okay. Cool. So yeah, this is a child of the div element, and the div is a child of the body, and then yeah, the P would be a grandchild of the body as well. Okay, cool. Headings. Headings in HTML are similar to headings in other types of media. For example, in newspapers, large headings are typically used to capture readers' attention. Other times, headings are used to describe content, like the title of a movie or an educational article. HTML follows a similar pattern. In HTML, there are 6 different headings or heading elements. Headings can be used for a variety of purposes, like titling sections, articles, or other forms of content. The following is a list of heading elements available in HTML. They are ordered from largest to smallest in size. Okay. H1 through H6, used for main headings, and all other smaller headings are used for subheadings. Following example code uses a headline intended to capture readers' attention. It uses the largest heading available, the main heading element. So it'll be H1. Okay. Now that you know how to structure HTML elements, we'll spend the rest of the lesson building an informational website using some of the most common HTML elements. We've put some elements in to get you started, but you'll write the rest of the page on your own. Below the H3 heading that says features, okay, add an H2 heading that says habitat, okay. Oops. Okay. Below the habitat heading, add an H3 heading that says countries. This one. Countries with large brown bear populations. No period. On the next line, add more H3. Oh. Add one more H3 heading that says trees with small brown bear populations. Okay. Finally, on the next line, H2. This is media. Okay. Div is one of the most popular elements in HTML is the div element. Div is short for division, or a container that divides the page into sections. These sections are very useful for grouping elements in your HTML together. Okay. Divs don't inherently have a visual representation, but they're very useful when we want to apply custom styles to our HTML elements. Div allows us to group HTML elements to apply the same styles for all HTML elements inside. We can also style the div elements as a whole. You can see how this can be done in the Learn CSS course. Divs can contain any text or other HTML elements, such as links, images, or videos. Remember to always add 2 spaces of indentation when you nest elements inside of divs for better readability. Okay, so below the H1 heading that says the brown bear, add, okay, so create an opening div tag, and then we want to create a closing one after here. Then we'll just indent this. I don't want to use spacebar. Indent's way easier, cleaner. Okay, above H2, I'm going to create another div element, looks like. And then close the div tag after H3. I didn't close it. And we'll indent these. Boom. Above the H2 element, we're doing another div. Oops. Attributes. If we want to expand an element's tag, we can do so using an attribute. Attributes are content added to the opening tag of an element and can be used in several different ways, from providing information to changing styling. Attributes are made up of the following 2 parts: the name of the attribute, the value of the attribute. One commonly used attribute is the ID. We can use the ID attribute to specify different content, such as divs, and is really helpful when you use an element more than once. IDs have several different purposes in HTML, but for now we'll focus on how they can help us identify content on our page. When we add an ID to a div, we place it in the opening tag. The intro, okay. Add an ID attribute with the value introduction to the div tag that's below the brown bear. Okay. Add an ID attribute with the value habitat to the opening div that has the habitat heading as a child. Okay. Add an ID attribute with the value media. Here, media. Okay. Displaying text. If you want to display text in HTML, you can use a paragraph or span. Paragraph contains a block of plain text, and span contains short pieces of text or other HTML. They are used to separate small pieces of content that are on the same line as other content. Take a look at each of these elements in action below. P, span, self-driving cars are anticipated to replace up to 2 million jobs. Okay, so how does this actually look? In the example above, there are two different div. The second div contains a P with span. This span element separates self-driving cars from the rest of the text in the paragraph. It's best to use a span element when you want to target a specific piece of content that is in line or on the same line as other text. If you want to divide your content into blocks, it's better to use a div. Below the H2 element that says about brown bears. Okay. And a closing tag, and we're going to copy and paste this text into it. So below the H, so this is all, yeah, this is nested inside there. Doesn't say anything about as a child. Okay, so below H3 element that says features, add a paragraph with the following text. Under the H3 element that says countries with small brown bear populations. Yeah. Surprised we didn't use anything with span there. That's kind of weird. Styling text. You can also use text. You can also style text using HTML tags. The EM tag emphasizes text, while the strong tag highlights important text. Later, when you begin to style websites, you will decide how you want browsers to display content with EM and strong tags. Browsers, however, have built-in style sheets that will generally style these tags in the following ways. The emphasize tag will generally render as italic emphasis. The strong will generally render as bold. Take a look at each style in action. Strong, the Nile River, so that should be bold, is the italicized longest river in the world, measuring over 6,850 kilometers long, approximately 4,260 miles. Okay, in this example, the strong and embellished or emphasized tags are used to emphasize the text to produce the following. The Nile River is the longest river in the world. Okay, just how we expected. As you can see, the Nile River is bold and the longest is in italics. Okay, in the first paragraph that starts, the brown bear. Okay, emphasize Ursus arctos. Okay. Okay, it's italicized there. In the paragraph under about brown bears, make the words least concern strong using the strong tag. So about brown bears, paragraph under about brown bears. Okay. Okay. Bold it here. Cool. All right. Line breaks. Spacing between code and an HTML file doesn't affect the positioning of elements in the browser. If you're interested in modifying the space in the browser, you can use HTML's line break element. The line break element is unique because it is only composed of a starting tag. You can use it anywhere within your HTML code, and a line break will be shown in the browser. So break, break, break. Okay. Code the example above will result in the output that looks like the following. So add 2 line breaks after the sentence that ends with least concern. Boom. So we want it to BR, BR. Boom. Unordered lists. In addition to organizing text in paragraph form, you can also display content in an easy to read list. In HTML, you can use an unordered list tag, UL, to create a list of items in no particular order. An unordered list outlines individual list items with a bullet point. The UL element should not hold raw text and won't automatically format raw text into an unordered list of items. Individual list items must be added to the unordered list using the LI tag. The LI, or list item tag, is used to describe an item in the list. Okay. In the example above, the list was created using the UL tag and the individual list items were added using LI tags. The output looks like this. Okay. And then under the heading that says species, okay, create an unordered list. Okay. Okay, so we're going to add a list item here. Or a bill. Okay. Species, the unordered list, and every item within it. Next, ordered lists. Okay. Ordered lists are like unordered lists, except that each item is numbered. They're useful when you need to list different steps in a process or rank items from first to last. You can create the order list with the OL tag and then add individuals list items to the list using LI tags. Okay. Output looks like this. Under the heading that says countries with large brown bear populations. Boom. Create an ordered list here. Okay. And then we're going to create list items. Boom. Russia. States. Canada. Images. All of the elements you've learned about so far, headings, paragraph, lists, and spans, share one thing in common. They're composed entirely of text. What if you want to add content to your web page that isn't composed of text, like images? The image tag allows you to add an image to a web page. Most elements require both opening and closing tags, but the image tag itself, or tag, is a self-closing tag. Note that the end of the image tag has a /. Self-closing tags may include or omit the final slash. Both will render properly. The image tag has a required attribute called source. The source attribute must be set to the image's source or the location of the image. In this case, the value of SRC must be the Uniform Resource Locator, URL, of the image. A URL is the web address or local address where a file is stored. Okay, under the media heading, Add an image, use the following URL as the source. Okay. So I guess we'll just leave it in the div element. We don't need it as the child. And then we'll copy this. Close. Why didn't like that? Add an image using the following URL. So we've got. Did you see the images source given URL? I totally did. What did it not like? It's kind of strange, no? Maybe that was the space that it didn't like. There it is. Okay. Easy peasy. Image alts. Part of being an exceptional web developer is making your site accessible to users of all backgrounds. In order to make the web more inclusive, we need to consider what happens when assistive technologies such as screen readers come across image tags. The alt attribute, which means alternative text, brings meaning to the image of our sites or on our sites. The alt attribute can be added to the image tag just like the source attribute. The value of alt should be a description of the image. The alt attribute also serves the following purposes. If an image fails to load on a web page, a user can mouse over the area originally intended for the image and read a brief description of the image. This is made possible by the description you provide in the alt attribute. Visually impaired users often browse the web with the aid of screen reading software. When you include the alt attribute, the screen reading software can read the image's description out loud to the visually impaired user. That's cool. The alt attribute also plays a role in search engine optimization because search engines cannot see the images on a website as they crawl the internet. Having descriptive alt attributes can improve the ranking on your site. If the image on the web page is not one that conveys any meaningful information to a user, visually impaired or otherwise, the alt attribute should be left empty. Okay, so add alt attribute to the image and include a description. Make sure the description accurately describes the image. So it's already added for us. Interesting. So we didn't have to add that. Okay. Videos. In addition to images, HTML also supports displaying videos like the image element. The video element requires a source attribute with a link to the video source. Unlike the image element, however, the video element requires an opening and a closing tag. Okay. Video source, video before width, height, controls. Video not supported. Okay. In this example, the video source is my video. The source can be a video file that is hosted alongside your web page or a URL that points to a video file hosted on another web page. After the source attribute, the width and height attributes are used to set the size of the video displayed in the browser. The controls attribute instructs the browser to include basic video controls such as pausing and playing. The text, video not supported, between the opening and closing tags will only be displayed if the browser is unable to load the video. Under the image, create a video tag and add the following URL as the source. Okay. So we want video, source, and we're going to use this page. And we know that the last time that space after caused issues, so we won't put it in there this time. And then I guess we can just close this because it's not really asking for anything. And we'll just do that. Okay. Oh my God, is that pixelated? Okay. So here, define the width of the video. 320. Is it a value? Okay, it is like that. Height is 240. Make sure to also include controls. Boom. Itchy bear, itchy bear. In between the opening and closing video tags, add the phrase video not supported, which will be displayed if the browser is unable to load your video. Okay, I will put it there so it's legible. Okay, review. Congratulations on completing the first lesson of HTML. You are well on your way to becoming a skilled web developer. Let's review what you've learned so far. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, is used to create the structure and content of a web page. Most HTML elements contain opening and closing tags with raw text or other HTML tags between them. HTML elements can be nested inside other elements. The enclosed element is the child of the enclosing parent element. Any visible content should be placed within the opening and closing body tags. Heading and subheadings, H1 to H6 tags, are used to provide titles for sections of content. Paragraph, span, and division tags specify text or blocks. Emphasize and strong tags are used to emphasize text. Line breaks are created with the break tag. Ordered lists are numbered and unordered lists are bulleted. Image and videos can be added by linking to an existing source. Here are a few more resources to add to your toolkit. Okay, make sure to bookmark these links so you have them at your disposal. In the next lesson, we'll take the content that you've added to this website and transform it into an HTML document that's ready to go on the web. We've left you with your final code. Feel free to play around and modify using the new elements you've learned. If you want to review how to structure HTML in a project and use semantically meaningful elements, watch the video below and follow along with one of our experts. Okay. Got a quiz here. How would the output of the code below change if UL and UL were changed to OL respectively? So we're going from unordered to unordered, so we should be looking for bullet points which change to numbers. Which element is the parent of the my paragraph? The div. Match the blanks with the proper syntax to create an HTML paragraph element. So we're going to have an opening P and a closing P. Boom. The abbreviation HTML stands for which of the following? Hypertext Markup Language. Here we go. The following code results in no visible output to the browser. Why? Because there's nothing inside of it. List items must be added to the list. There we go. Why is the code below incorrect? Video source, because it doesn't have a closing video tag. The width, nope, doesn't. The source, nope. Video element is not a self. There we go. What is the correct definition of an HTML element? Okay, so correct definition. HTML code that does not require opening or closing tags. I don't think so. An HTML tag and the content that oh yeah, here. Which of the following elements will directly affect the vertical spacing in an HTML layout? Which of the following elements? It's going to be a break. The following code is supposed to display an image, but fails to do so. Why? Because there's no source. The source attribute is missing. There we go. Which of the following is valid HTML for the heading tag with the smallest size and lowest rank? H6. Which of the following tags would contain HTML for a web page's visible content? Body. What HTML code will most web browsers display as italics? We're going to look for the emphasize tag, that one. Which of the following is the correct syntax for the paragraph HTML element? We're going to have an opening and a closing. This is the right one. Boom. Look at that. Ooh, this is nice. Now they've changed the way the quiz results show up too. Guess we'll see you in the next video.